To present this session, I'd really like to welcome Tony Burns, the General Manager for Employment at Multicap. So thank you for your donation of time again, Tony. And yeah, please take it away when you're ready.
Awesome, Tristan. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for today's opportunity and welcome everybody. I'd like to also just acknowledge and thank Pathan for his initial information about Microsoft. Thank you for that. And also for Tristan and Olivia for organising and putting this event on today. I think it's great to put like-minded people in the room and always get something. I'm always a big believer, if you're going to spend time on Teams or with a meeting, always try and learn one thing or move away with something great. So Tim, thanks for your presentation on raffle tickets. I've actually had a lot of experience with my background, which I'll talk in a second, which your advice is very valuable. And I think the platform of that space is changing. So thank you for your advice. That was really great. All right, so I'm just going to share my screen. And has everyone had a good Wednesday?
Yeah, it's been pretty good so far, I have to say.
Okay. Just loading up now, so hopefully just let me know, Tristan, when it comes online.
Sure, will do. Haven't seen it yet.
Did it come out now?
Ah, it's on its way, yes.
Should be there now, is that right?
Yep, I think it's showing. I've got a little bit of a lag. I'm on a home internet connection today, which is a bit slow, but I think everyone else is giving a nod, so I think Excellent. We're good.
Right, so today's opportunity obviously is really about sort of finding a key purpose. And I guess one of the most things I like to open up is very, very few people and very, very few organizations can clearly state why they do what they do. And by why I don't mean to make money, that's a result. By why I mean what's your purpose, what's your cause, what's your belief. Why does your organization exist? And why do you get out of bed in the morning? That's something that's driven me very, very early on. And I want to take you guys on a bit of a journey. So can you see that next slide, Tristan?
Yep, certainly can.
Perfect. So the two most important days in your life. Hands up if you think when the day you're born is an important day. Yeah. But the day you find out your why, now that's the key. So I'm just going to play a little video here.
I do not believe that any of us have dreams that were not given to us for the purpose of accomplishing those particular dreams.
If you feel you have something to give, if you feel that your particular talent is worth developing, is worth caring for, then there's nothing you can't achieve.
So I applaud you for your dreaming, for your running toward your dream. I applaud you for believing in yourself, because that's what life is about, stretching and challenging, looking for ways that you can begin to improve yourself.
Not only is it possible for you to have your dream, but it's necessary. It's necessary that you go for what is yours in the universe.
Logical, practical thinking says you can't do it today. But if you want to produce unreasonable results in your life, like living your dream and taking charge of your destiny, you've got to be an unreasonable person.
When you grow up, you tend to get told that the world is the way it is. Your life is just to live your life inside the world, try not to bash into the walls too much. That's a very limited life. Life can be much broader once you discover one simple fact. Everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you. Once you learn that, you'll never be the same again.
If it's hard, why do people do it? Why do they do it? People who climb mountains. Why would a Nelson Mandela give up 26 years of his life? Why do people do that? even though it's hard, it's worth it. It's worth it. The people who go after that stuff, what makes it worth it? It's got to be your passion. You got to love it. It's got to be what you are supposed to do. You do what it is you're supposed to. You're supposed to build something. You're supposed to create something. I don't know how to do it. Learn. Let me share something with you. History is being read, but it's also being written by people with imagination. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop running toward your dream.
Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us.
No matter how bad it is or how bad it gets, I'm going to make it. Live your life with passion, with some drive.
Hands up if you enjoyed the video. I might open up quickly, just Tristan, if what did someone enjoy about it? If they can just open up and put your hand up and take you off mic and just tell me something about it that you enjoyed.
Yeah, well, I'll go first. I think it's always really important to understand, your purpose and what you're aiming for. It's easy to get going when things are tough. If you have something bigger than, just the moment or the simple goal that you're aiming for at the time. If you have an overarching purpose, it really helps you to keep motivated through the tough times.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we've got another hand up there too.
We do. I can't see who that is at the moment. I'm just trying to open up the screen. So does anyone else want to take themselves off mute and make a comment? Please just go ahead.
Go, Tim.
Guys, am I off mute?
Yes.
Okay. Tony, I've got a 14-year-old son, and there was a little image there of a young guy on the train looking a bit despondent. Probably underestimating his, value, his worth, his potential, etc. It was a little reminder to me to, sometimes we've got to pick people up, don't we, as well, yeah. And give them a bigger picture to aim for.
It's a great point, Tim, and I think one of the biggest things that we're the most connected species in the world, but we're also the most disconnected. And we're always on our phones and we're always trying to connect through this. But I think about having conversations and reaching out to people and giving them that confidence, like your son, that, reach for the stars and anything's possible. I was very lucky enough to have great parents who instilled that in me. And that segue right now, you'll see on your screen, there's a picture of myself on a newspaper. So I just wanted to clarify a few things of my credibility today. So I'm currently the NT champion for rock, paper, scissors. I, in 2010, won the competition, and they flew me down to Canberra on the day that Julia Gillard became Prime Minister, and they never held the competition again. So I'm still the NT champion. There you go. I'll just, next slide.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
How do you win at rock, paper, scissors?
Yeah, great question. So they actually had this, it's you've got to believe in yourself a lot, Olivia. I watched a lot of Star Wars, so I was gifted to have the Force. Look, it's a bit of a numbers game. To be honest with you, it was incredible. There's an actual international championships for rock, paper, scissors. So I lost in the quarterfinals, and then they flew the person from Australia across to Canada for the World Championship. So maybe I'll take you offline and I'll give you some extra tips on how to win. But anyway, it's a bit of a, it's a talent to it. So, so a bit of homework for you guys. So on the 17th of July, 1995, my life changed incredibly. You know when you have those sliding door moments in your life? And I watched this movie called Rudy. Now, Rudy was based on a college football player in America. Are there any people in the room that have seen the movie Rudy? All right, so do me a favor, a bit of homework. Write down on a piece of paper for me, R-U-D-Y, Heart of a Hero. Come on, Olivia. Yeah, it's a fantastic movie. So I watched it back in 95. I was so inspired by this movie that I went into my parents' bedroom and I said, I'm going to meet this guy one day. And I was actually playing professional tennis at the time. And 3.5 years later, I tracked the real guy down and had lunch with him in Las Vegas. The actual guy from the true story, not the actor. If you want to just, it's an incredible movie. Now, I don't think that, you probably watch it, you won't go out and try and track him down too, but I wanted to tell that story is because it played a massive part in my why and what I'm doing now. So when I was coming back from America, I saw a guy called John McClane. Now, John is in this picture here. He's got an incredible story and background. So John was the first person to do the Hawaiian Ironman in a wheelchair. Now, if people don't know what an Ironman race is, it's a 3.8K swim, 180K bike ride, and a marathon all in one go. I was coming back from America and I saw this documentary on John and I thought, wow, wouldn't it be fantastic to meet him one day? And a couple of years later on the Sunshine Coast, I saw John at the corner of my eye after a Noosa triathlon. And I thought, wow, when you have those sliding door moments where you can either take action on it or you can sit back and not take action. Who's done that before? When you're sort of sitting in that moment and you think to yourself, you know what? Oh no, that's not John. I'll just continue dinner. So I went up to John. I literally had 3 minutes to speak with him. And I told him, look, thank you so much for all his inspiration. And I told him about the movie Rudy. So the thing about connecting with people is about really finding what your why is and then connecting authentically with that person. I didn't realize at the time, but John was actually being training to be the first person in the world to swim across the English Channel. Now, John was hit by an 8-ton truck in 1988. He was training for the Nepean Triathlon, and an 8-ton truck ran him over. He died 3 times on the table in hospital. And some other homework for you, please, if you can, write down John McClane, 60 Minutes. It's on YouTube. It is an incredible story. Now, keep in mind, I wanted to meet John. I didn't realize at the time he was attempting to do this race. Nike gave him $20,000, and John loved my passion. So he said, look, I want you to be part of my foundation. So in 2004, I did my first Ironman race with John. And since then, I've done 5 Ironman races and a few crazy 100 ultra marathons. I've been able to personally raise over $750,000 for his foundation. And I wanted to tell you that part of the story because it links into the rest of the passion of what we're doing now. So you'll see here on your screen, and you're probably thinking, how come John is walking? So what I did was I went across to Egypt in 2012 and I was raising money for a young girl who had muscular atrophy in Darwin. And it was the day that Egypt was under attack. And I don't know, hands up if you've eaten a bad kebab before out on the, not the best thing in Egypt. So I actually got Giardia, and I've been training for 12 months for this 100-kilometer ultra marathon race. And I was on the toilet for 24 hours. Anyway, long story short, I did the race. I was pulled off at 70K mark. Egypt was under attack. I came back to Australia safely, thank goodness. And then 12 months later, I created my own 100-kilometer race, and I called it Croc to Croc. You can Google that. It's a pretty cool story with what we did and raised money. But I wanted to show you this part of the stories because John met me at the 99K mark after I'd been running for 15.5 hours, and John walked unassisted for the first time in 25 years and did the last kilometre with me. So some homework for you guys. Check out the 60-minute story on John. I guarantee you it will be one of the most inspiring things that you'll ever see. So getting on to today's talk really about passion and purpose. So what I want to talk about today is, finding out what your true why is, how you can adapt that to your own life, really about bringing success along that journey and bringing everyone along it, which is important. And also, I think importantly too, is we've got to remember to smile, transform your brand. I think it was important, like what Tim was saying, you've got to continue to think differently. I spoke to Tristan about this as well. As society and as organizations, you've got to continue to think differently and be, why does people want to connect with your brand? So that's a really important thing that hopefully today you'll get a couple ideas out of. So I, as Tristram said, I'm the General Manager of Employment at Multicap. Multicap is an incredible organisation that's been going since 1962. And as you'll see on screen there, we predominantly focus on inspiring and empower people with special needs and disabilities. We're very focused on a strategic plan for our organisation, which is made up of 4 different categories: delighted customers, skilled workforce, service excellence, and sustainable growth. And I'm thinking, around those 4 categories there, anyone in business, if you keep it simple like that, you can actually achieve some fantastic results. Obviously for us too, you've got to have a mission and really why you get out of bed in the morning. So our mission is to assist people with disabilities to achieve their full potential. The vision for the organisation is to inspire confidence, independence and life skills. And then also our objectives is to be a committed and innovative employer and really focus on, possibilities, not disabilities. So we're based in Queensland and sort of the top of New South Wales, but it's really about brand strategy. And that's what I want to talk about today, is about every person in not-for-profit, or like I like to call it these days, for purpose. Some other homework. From this point onwards, I give you an opportunity, guys, to actually say to yourselves, we're not a not-for-profit, we actually are a for-purpose, because you cannot actually run a business without making a profit. And I don't like the analogy of not-for-profit. I changed those words very many years ago when I ran a company in the Territory called Helping People Achieve. And we transformed that business. We're lucky enough to win the Telstra Business of the Year Awards and was the first charity in Australia to do that. And that was really about transforming the brand. So I guess one of the things I'd like you to think about today is, how is your brand strategy going for your organisation? Has it been looked upon for some time? Is there an opportunity that you can actually look at it and go, well, how can we actually improve our strategy and our sort of our connection with our customers? So for us, and as we continue to grow and evolve as leaders and as great purpose-driven organisations, I think it's really important that you focus on a few key things. So the first one really is about your target audience and about where you're really going and revisiting sort of what your purpose is, how you're going to connect with your customers. And I think what Tim said before in his presentation, it's about being authentic. You can't rely on Facebook or Google or social media these days. That's a platform to push a message, but really it gets back to that connection of that face-to-face or even that personal connection on why that business or why that company should do business with you. And really for today, I guess brands are turning to really for purpose. They're realizing that traditional marketing methods and approaches are less effective today. Hands up if you think that's true. Yep. And you'll see it in all the advertising and all the marketing that people are doing. Brands are turning to purpose as they realize that traditional marketing methods and approaches are less effective. So what consumers are really looking for are searching for brands and companies and people that have a meaningful and authentic contribution to their lives and their society. If you get a chance to Google charity water, they're an incredible company that, similar to what's done in the past with, Thank You Water in Australia, but they're doing some fantastic stuff around the world. So they've got some really great ideas on how they do their business too. So I think another thing about today's presentation I want to make a big point about is we have to be authenticity. Hands up if you've dealt with businesses before where they're not authentic. Anybody? It's not the best experience, is it? You come away feeling, well, I'm not really believing what they're doing. For us, it was very clear. We wanted to change a whole culture, but the purpose driven for myself is about not only transforming our sector, but we're communicating and transforming society as well. And that's what drives me to get out of bed in the morning. So for us, it was really about what is our brand strategy? It has to be real. We have to be true to ourselves. Every single day we get out of bed, there's a purpose of what we're doing. There has to be equity in it from all parts. So if you've got a transaction with somebody, the equity has to be there for both parties or all parties. It's very important to be transparent. I think a lot of these days, as human beings, we get so busy in the doing that we forget to be transparent with, really enjoying the moment and also being vulnerable enough to actually say, how can we do this better? And you've got to trust in the process. I think importantly, for us, it's about going forward and making sure that we can do things and trust that we're heading in the right direction. So for us, it's really about having clear vision. For organizations, and I think in the not-for-profit, for-purpose world, you need to have vision. And I think, our sector is an incredible sector. And I want to compliment Tristan again for giving this platform for organizations to really be connected with great people, because you never know when that one conversation is going to go from a conversation to a partnership. For us, it was really important for us to have a model around employment. Obviously, I'm the general manager for employment. So we're actually going through a process at the moment to have really clear, defined pathways towards going and making a big difference for our organisation. But where that comes from is being truly inspired and making sure that in my division, we employ 156 amazing people. But every single day, it's so important that we continue to ask our team and our partners, are we inspired by what we're doing? How can we do it better? And continually to ask that question, what is next? And I always say to my team, if we are a better organisation than we were yesterday, then we're on the right track. In our model in enterprises, we've got multiple business lines that fall under employment. So our whole focus is about focusing on possibilities, not disabilities. But you'll see there on screen, we've got a list of different companies. Each one of those businesses are separate to the overall arm of employment. So they've got their own profit margins and profit and loss statements, and they run as a normal business. But for us, it was really important to think, how can we be different to our market space? So I want to talk about 3 examples today that really started with a conversation that led on to greatness for our company. So on the screen there, you'll see there's 4 pictures. On the left down on the bottom line, there's one there with Laundretto with 2 of our amazing staff members. We actually ran a Laundretto, which was sort of like a public laundry that wasn't making much money. What happened was we had a conversation with a company called One Harvest. Now, One Harvest is an organization that packs all the salads. They've got 90% of market share in Coles, Woolworths and Aldi around Australia, and they pack all the packs of lettuces and stuff you buy from the shops. So they had actually getting their all their staff, which is over 500 staff, they needed to get all this the laundry done. So what happened was we turned that laundry that was making a loss into a commercial laundry, which was a really great story, because what happened was we turned it from employing one person with a disability to now having 15 people with all abilities employed. a business that's making a contribution, but we're also changing the way that people look upon that word disability. So I guess one of the things I want to leave with you with this today from that example is, what is something in your business that you're doing currently that, you know, having a conversation with another business can transform that partnership? Because what you need to do is, if you find a pain point in a company, there might be something in your business market that you can actually transform and build a great relationship. That One Harvest partnership then turned into a call center. So all our people now are actually making the calls for One Harvest to actually call up all the shopping centers around Australia to order their salads. And then we've actually just about to launch next week. It's a food processing plant. So you'll see up on the top left-hand corner, there's some green chairs. We're actually going to be cutting the snow peas for this organization. So I wanted to inspire you in some sense in that is that you never know where that relationship can come from one step to a next step, you know, and then before you know it, you've got 3 brand new enterprises making a massive contribution to your business line. On screen, you'll see there's 2 incredible people, Alex and Jeffrey. They're incredible people that have got all abilities. We've just partnered with Cook Medical. Now, Cook Medical is a multi-billion-dollar company from America. They specialize in making stents for doctors. They've got 98% market share in the world. The reason I want to tell you about this example is that, once again, it's about really reaching out and just knocking on that door to that company and going, how can we help? Basically, what happens is they're actually employing these 2 gentlemen down at their organization on a full-time basis now. So they were working for Multicap. They've left Multicap and now working full-time for this company. We've got a job coach down there helping them, but that's real employment with a multi-billion-dollar company. So I just want you guys to think too that, you know, outside of your connections and your customers, when was the last time that you asked the question, what's your pain point at the moment? And there might be something in your business model that you could help out. And then I've got something really excited to talk about is our partnership with a company that you might have heard of, PepsiCo. Now, PepsiCo, as you probably would have heard, has been around for a little while. Another multi-billion-dollar company. We've actually just signed the first agreement in Australia of its kind to employ our incredible staff members to pack all the Red Rock chips in Coles and Woolworths. So next time you go past and you see the Red Rock chips, you can sort of say, okay, I know a company that packs those. So that's real meaningful employment, and that partnership potentially, if we hit our targets, are going to increase and employ 200 people with all abilities within 2 years. So I wanted to explain and just inspire that, because it's we're really proud of that opportunities, and it comes back to, as you'll see there, transforming the way that you think about your business model. We all have that opportunity every single day to think, what are we doing now? Where do we want to head to in a short period of time? But what can we do with just really having different conversations, but also maybe just flipping that one arm of the business, which can totally transform your next arm of the business. So yeah, so look, love to reach out, and if there's an opportunity after this, please reach out to me if you've got any questions. Our whole focus here is really about finding purposeful jobs for people who really deserve to be included in society. I have, and I've said this to Tristan, I have the most passionate workforce in the world. If anyone's in Brisbane online, please reach out. I'd love to come and show you what we do on the ground, because I tell people every day you come, if you come and visit Multicap for the first time, you will be inspired by what our guys do. And I guess in closing, I like to leave this is, every act of kindness creates a ripple with no end. So I think, at the end of the day, congratulations on what you guys are doing in this space. I think it's really important to really connect with your team members and continue to ask the question and make sure that everyone's on the same why. I think also, it's time to actually keep and smell the roses too. There's so much media out there with COVID and everything happening at the moment that I think we just got to continue to think about the great things of why we do what we do every single day and go to work and make a difference. And if you can inspire one person to become greater, then that's a good thing. So hope you enjoyed today. Check out those videos. Rudy, I want to report by next Monday on how you enjoyed the movie. But please, it's a fantastic story. He lives in Las Vegas, so if you want to go there and meet him, he's still there. But I hope you enjoyed today. Tristan, thanks for the opportunity, and I hope you guys enjoyed the talk.
Thank you so much, Tony. Really appreciate that. That was an excellent presentation. And I've certainly got some comments and questions, but before I go there, I'd love to throw it out to the floor. So would anyone like to make comment or ask questions of Tony while we have him?
Don't be shy, guys.
Hi, Tony. It's Melissa here.
Hey, Melissa.
So I work with small business owners and their people, so very much from the HR headache, people paracetamol approach. I just wanted to see, with this rumour as to whether it's going to happen, of the great resignation when it comes to businesses, do you think that that's going to be a bit of a turning point for your business to offer solutions to fill some of those gaps?
100%. I think, and that's a great question. Thank you for asking it. I think we're at a point in time now in our life of the business world is things can be dramatically changed, and it's about transforming the way that every single business is doing things. And you cannot, unfortunately, continue to go down the pathway you've done, because if you do that, you'll get lost. You'll get taken over. So I think really what we're trying to do as a model is continuing to ask the question on how we can support and partner with businesses. And when there's pain points out there, like I said, it's really about stretching yourself and being nimble enough and vulnerable enough as an organization to ask the question, because the reality of it is there's still a stigma out there of the word disability. But if you can transform that and change that, I had a conversation the other day with an organization that we've been lucky enough to partner with. They are blown away. They're quite a large organization, but they've said to us, thank you for taking us on this journey, because 9 times out of 10, it's not as hard as it seems. And I think if you take that approach, you never know where you can head with that. So there's opportunity out there. It's just a matter of if you grab it by 2 hands and ask the question. And how do businesses connect with you to do that? Because I'd like to connect. Yeah, absolutely. So with you. What I'll do after this, I'll ask Tristan to just get the email addresses of all of you guys, and what I'll do is I'll send out a little information pack and my details, and yeah, love to chat offline. Awesome. Thanks. Thank you.
All right, Joe, you got your hand up?
Hi, thank you so much. That's it's always great to, the impact place for me is a really great touchstone. So thank you, Tristram, again. For hosting and getting some great speakers on. Thank you, Tony, and thank you, Tim. I just wanted to also say something that came up during your presentation, Tony, was, so much more now in the marketplace. Customers are becoming more aware and I guess savvy about the authenticity of who they're buying from and what they're buying, as are clients as well. But coming from the same space as Melissa, the HR space, and helping people find their work home, I guess, their new work home. Can you give some strategies? You've obviously been very successful in finding your why and distilling sort of what is important to you and directing that in a really effective way in finding employment. So often that I find with when talking to candidates about what their why is, they find it very difficult to then apply that to a money-making employment, I guess. So is there any strategies that you have, any tips or tricks that you could share with us that you've been able to do it so effectively yourself?
Yeah, no, thank you for that question, and it's an interesting one. And I think when I open it up about the conversation around the Simon Sinek quote around about very, very few people and very few organisations don't know what their why is, and that's why it's so important now more than ever that if you don't have the right people in your organisation who are truly committed to what you're trying to do, you're wasting your time. Do you know what I mean? And so there's two parts to that. Sometimes people need to be taken on the journey and really committed to about why, making it very clear about what your why is. My why has been quite a journey. So as you could see, why I told you about the John McClane Foundation and all that stuff at the start was it's linked to this point now with what I'm doing and inspiring not only for our organisation, but like Melissa said, it's that bigger why too about connecting with the community and connecting with and educating people. So I think one of the things that I found that's worked really well with me, Joanna, is really making it very simple. Like whatever that why is for your organisation, it's got to have meaningful and it's got to be authentic and it's got to have real connection to what your brand is. If it's not, then people aren't going to believe in it. But if you can actually make that really simple and it's believable. So if people believe in what you're saying, then greatness will come. It's like that conversation with the PepsiCo I talked about or One Harvest. If they didn't believe in what we were doing, that conversation wouldn't unfold to where it is now. So I think one of the good things that you can say in a HR training purposes is really stripping it back to that point of why you guys are in business. Why is your organisation doing what it is doing? And if you've got the right people in the right place as the chessboard game, and everyone comes to work believing that they're here for a purpose, 9 times out of 10, you'll get so much further than just having people that come here for a paycheck. And another thing that you might help to, I know I pushed it a few times and I should get shares in the company, but watch Rudy, because I guarantee you when you watch that movie, the simplicity of that message is so powerful, because when you're on the right train track, when it's hard and you're going through and you don't believe that it's getting back to that why. And once you watch that movie, I guarantee you that will help your staff as well if you get a chance to promote it as well.
Thank you, Tony. Tim, you look like you were going to say something. I'm not sure if you had a question or comment.
Yeah, look, I'm a numbers man, Tristram, you know that. And Tony, I just wonder if you can give me or give us all a sense of the Multicap sort of throughput. I don't mean to use it like that, but just the number of people that you're involved in and assisting. Yep. and a place in, I guess.
No, great question, Tim. Thank you. So Multicap started up in 1962 with 5 families, and back in 62, the language wasn't great. Families with spastics, and the whole analogy of where it's come from has been quite a journey for us. So started with 5 families with a vision and a dream. As of today, we employ over 1,600 people across multiple business arms. So in housing, well-being, and in employment. So and we've got hubs as well, and also, I guess from my point of view, we're transforming the way that employment is looked upon, because really getting back to people with all abilities, all they want to do is make a contribution. And I think one of the great things that we've been able to do very early on in the last sort of 6 months is transform the why of what we do. So as I said to you, we employ 156 people in employment, but across the board, we've got 1,600 staff in multiple sort of a range of areas. But I think at the end of the day, one of the biggest things I love to do, Tim, is continue to actually educate the wider audience about the word disability and about possibilities, because whenever you have those conversations with people, you never know where that can lead. So as I said, I'd love to reach out to you guys after this, and if there's anything in your business that we can assist with, or put you in the right direction as well. I sit on the national board for NDS, which is for supported employment. So I've got other organisations around Australia who can assist if you've got other locations. So more than happy to that. But from a Queensland base, would love to have a chat with all of you offline, because like I said, a lot of the time, I'll give you an example. So I was at this talk a few months ago, and we had all these big CEOs and organizations online talking about the future of, globalization and the business market. And I had a microphone, and I asked the question to all these highly successful CEOs and business owners in government and organizations. And I asked the question, thank you so much for your talk today, but I said, what is your position on employing a person with disability? And the place went completely quiet. They were like deers with lights in their eyes. So I think there's a lot of area to continue to do in this space. But if we can continue to ask the hard questions and be vulnerable enough to think, why can't I be open to this conversation? A lot of the time, our partners that have come on this journey with us, it's been an incredible journey which they thought they could never be on.
Thank you for that, Tony. And Yoli, I'm sure this is fairly close to your heart too, being a social enterprise aficionado, and seeing what Tony's been talking about with all these different businesses that have spun off from Multicap as a way of self-funding effectively, which is really, it's exactly in your wheelhouse, I guess. Have you got any comments or questions?
Yes, definitely. Tony, I agree with what Tristram's saying, and thank you very much for your presentation. And I'm actually been doing some work with a couple of organisations that are social enterprises that are actually looking at similar sort of things. One that's working with people with disabilities at Caboolture and engaging them more in running the organisation and having greater ownership of the organisation. And the other is looking at how families can run businesses with their person with all abilities. And we're exploring those business models from a social enterprise perspective. And what you're talking about is definitely social enterprise, where as you probably indicated, that they're businesses that contribute the funds to your not-for-profit. Can I just ask, are those businesses that you're running, are they set up as proprietary limited companies where a percentage of the money goes back to Multicap Meadows, or is it a different legal structure?
No. So they're trading names, and it all basically falls into employment as an arm of the business. Which then goes back into the business of the overall success of the company. So look, and it's quite an interesting space, because as you can imagine, and I say this to people too, when they tell me about, running a business or a small business, it's quite difficult. But when you put the complexities in it, when you're actually employing some incredible people with all abilities, that puts another facet on it, which is quite challenging. But that's one thing that drives me. And I think at the end of the day, if we can continue to keep asking the question, let's employ, there's so many people out there with all abilities that don't have a job or don't have a purpose. So what we're trying to do very, very purposeful is to inspire more people to go, why not? Why can't we create jobs? Why can't we actually partner with great companies? Why can't we actually get people to actually get excited about coming to work? So that's something that's driven really, really closely to my heart, and hopefully we're doing a good thing. I know we are doing a good thing. We've still got a long way to go, but like today's opportunity to talk to all of you, I think hopefully you've learned one or two new things that you might not have, and made you think a little bit differently. And I think as human beings and as business leaders, if we continue to ask the question, let's not be satisfied with what we've got now. Let's ask the question on how we can become greater. And that could be through a conversation or watching a movie or linking up with somebody else. But before you know it, those conversations can lead into really great partnerships.